As small resin 3D printer YouTuber, it is an honor when a well-known company like Uniformation send me their printer for review. Even though I am getting this printer for free, I want to make it clear that my review will remain completely honest for all of you watching. Hello everyone, I am Dennis, and this is Uniformation GK3 Pro test and review. Let's get started with the printer build. At the back of the printer, you can attach the Wi-Fi antenna, and we have the LAN port and power plug. GK3 Pro has built-in air purifier. This is the active carbon purifier, and it inserts here at the back. The purifier has closed-loop system, so it sucks air from the top fan here and blow it back from the bottom opening. The body casing is from plastic, and the platform around the screen also plastic, but it has a metal frame. At the bottom of the printer, we have adjustable feet, and here's a water pass to help you level the printer, although the accuracy is somewhat questionable. Rather than simply copy other printer design, Uniformation takes it to the next level for the cover hinge. They optimize the design so it doesn't take a lot of space behind the printer. Look at how much workspace I have at the front of the printer. It all thanks to the great flip-up cover hinge designed by Uniformation. See, fully open the cover and it do not touch the wall at all. Compared to other printer hinge, because it takes a lot of space to the back of the printer, I only have very small workspace. You only need like 6 to 8 cm space from the back of the printer and about 20 cm space at the top. Yeah, very great design Uniformation for the flip-up cover hinge. The green color can block 100% UV light. The flip-up cover is almost perfect, if only it doesn't slam shut when you leave it open halfway. And I noticed there is a seal at the side of the cover, but there is no seal at the top of the cover here. As you can see, there is a gap. So I'm not sure why they decide to leave the top without any seal. GK3 Pro has single rail, but it is wider than the usual resin printer rail, and use ball screw for the rod movement. I don't see any issue when moving the arm up and down, but as usual, because of the single rail, when moving side to side, the indicator moves all over the place. But the final judgment will be on real test print. For the build plate, it has latch to lock it in place. Be careful not to leave it up like this. And in my experience, for several times during early test print, I find that I cannot close the lid, only to find out I forgot and leave the latch in open position. Thank God I do not crack or break the cover. GK3 Pro build plate is a combination of plastic and metal parts. There is no etching on the surface, but it has fine scratches to help with plate adhesion. It has lip to prevent resin from dripping onto your workspace. And to me, personally, Uniformation has the best build plate leveling system. But I think there's a little mishap to the plate metal part thickness. You can see the paper can slide in easily at the corners, but not at the center. That means the plate buckle when you tighten the locking bolt for the plate leveling. So what I did is I barely tightened the locking bolt. The center no longer buckle. I am sure if you're a beginner, this build plate might be the easiest to level. But I have a slight issue. No matter the lift distance, if I set the bottom exposure lower than 35 seconds, the center will fail to stay. Usually, with proper leveling and lift distance, you can use bottom exposure less than 20 seconds. Good thing that even with such high bottom exposure, objects are easy to remove from the plate and no compression issue. I'm not sure why. It could be the plate or it could be the resin tank. The resin tank has this very nice lid, so you could safely leave your resin in the tank for prolonged time without the risk of exposing the resin. It locked in place with this sliding latch. This is open. Remove the tank and then place it back in and then lock in place. Very efficient. and no more hassle with locking the thumb screw. The resin tank has a slot here, so you could place your build plate. You could place your build plate like right here and let the excess resin drip back into the tank. I really like this design because some specialty resin is very expensive and every drop is precious. And also it prevents messy drip all around my workspace. Yeah, I really like this design. At the corner here is where the resin will pour in from the auto refill system. And also at the same corner here is a pouring spout if you want to empty your resin tank. The entire body is made of plastic, so it is very lightweight and comfortable to hold. For the film, it uses CPFA. According to Uniformation, CPFA is a better film compared to ACF, and it has the same foggy look just like ACF. From the bottom, you could see the resin tank has fit to prevent dust sticking to the film. And here's the connection to the resin sensor. Here's the resin sensor, and this is the sensor to check whether the resin tank is installed or not. It is just like a simple switch, but it works. This is where you put the resin bottle for the refill system. This is an empty bottle that you could fill with your own resin, and according to Uniformation, you could reuse this empty bottle like 10 times. We have a small drip catcher here, and I really like this because I like to keep my printer and my workspace clean from any resin drip, and usually on a refill system there will be some excess dripping here, but Uniformation give this small drip catcher or like bowl so you could keep your printer clean from any resin dripping. The resin tank has slope at the edges, so less resin collecting or pulling around the edges compared to GK2 resin tank. GK3 Pro has 16K 9.6-inch screen. The pixel shape is rectangular and the size is 14 micron and 19 micron. The maximum print volume is 211, 118, and 240 mm high. The screen uses dyed polarizer. From what I understand, it can enhance the contrast ratio and give sharper detail compared to regular polarizer. And I could see it also has what seems like Fresnel lens. Who installed the screen guard and leave this speck of dust inside? Oh my god. Now I have to carefully peel the screen guard and remove this speck of dust. Light uniformity test result is impressive, as you can see from my test here. GK3 Pro used 385nm UV light source, and the shorter wavelength could prevent over-penetration or cross-curing, especially for clear resin and improve print precision. And yes, 100% we have Fresnel lens. And you could see inside here we have the light source, and this is the heater for the GK3 Pro. Noise test. Opening the lid, the noise mostly comes from the purifier fan, topping at 82 decibel. About 1 meter from the printer, the noise dropped to 63 decibel. Closing the lid, close to the printer, the noise is at 65 decibel, and a meter away is at 58 decibel. Not as loud as your indoor fan for comparison. The screen is located at the front here, and you could lift this part up to 90 degrees. You have a quick access for the USB port at the front here, and this is the USB stick or the flash disk. It looks very nice. But to access the power button, you have to lift up the screen, And here's your power button. For the user interface, here we can access the USB stick or flash disk. This is the built-in storage. This is to clean the internal memory. And then here for the Z-axis movement, to test your exposure, to clean your resin tank. And here the auto fitting system. I think I will turn off the auto fitting system because I'm sure you guys could watch other reviewer that test the auto fitting system, but I think I will not test the auto fitting system in my video review. Here for the auto fitting system, and this is to clean the pipe for the auto fitting system. Language setting, network setting, and the LAN setting, cloud service. This is to check your system, the printer name, the prompt sound, volume, and GK3 Pro has heater. You could turn it on or turn it off, and what I like is I could adjust the temperature. I will definitely test the temperature. This is to turn on and turn off the LED light. I am turning off the preheat, but you could turn it on. This is to check your file. Are you going to turn it on or not? And this is for the operation and maintenance mode. It is locked. Device information, user information, technical support, and system update. GK3 Pro has camera that you could use for live monitoring or record time-lapse video. And you could check all that from Uniformation app. You can even control the printer like moving the Z-axis, do vat cleaning or resin tank cleaning, test the exposure, manage your files, check the status of the consumable parts of GK3 Pro printer. And the most important is you could start or check your printing. So there is a viewer that asked for me to check the build plate and the screen alignment. So I guess everything looks great. And just to be sure the alignment is good. Yeah, everything looks in a good alignment, right? Just in case you guys still calibrating the printer exposure, you could make a quick changes by accessing this button here rather than resize the model. About print speed, it topped at 720mm per minute. This bracelet height is 12 cm, and with this print setting, at 30 micron it took 9 hours, and at 50 micron it took 4.5 hours. If I use my moderate speed print setting, it took twice longer. I did several settings for the anti-aliasing, but I think the anti-aliasing doesn't work because the voxels are still showing on all the anti-aliasing that I tested. GK3 Pro 385 UV light source has a clear advantage when printing clear resin. At the top row is the 385, at the bottom is the 405. This is at 2.4 seconds, 2 seconds, 1.6, and the 405 start to fail, 1.2 seconds on 385 still printing, and it only fails at 0.8 seconds. This is 385 UV light source. I can print the channel completely from the top 1mm, 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, and all the way to 0.1. And 0.8 is showing a very clear channel. From 0.7, it starts to getting over penetration here, or cross curing. On the right 385, on the left 405, and this is at 2 seconds. The 0.7 channels start to showing up all the way, very clear, no cross curing. On the right, 385, on the left, 405. And at 385, the channel form all the way down to 0.5, it print very nice. So this is at 1.2 seconds for 385, 405 just failed. Still quite a similar result with the 1.6 seconds. It's formed correctly all the way down to 0.5 millimeter. Let's have a look side by side, 1.6 and 1.5 seconds. Very minimum difference. This is the first time I ever printed this. Successfully printed this wire mesh model from the 0.3, 0.2, and 0.1. But as usual, even if I successfully print the wire mesh, it did not survive the white cycle for the 0.1. So yeah, a very clear advantage on 385 UV light source if you want to print detailed stuff using clear resin. It is very hard to print this 0.1 wire mesh on regular printer because of the size of the wire mesh, but GK3 Pro managed to print it successfully even with clear resin. But the problem is the washing cycle. It doesn't survive the washing cycle. The 385 UV light source gives a more precise and higher energy, which means no cross curing or over penetration when you are printing clear resin. But I guess there's still some limit if you want to print super small microfluid. But it gives us a very good opportunity to print clear resin just like when you are printing standard resin. You could see the very thin lining on this proto model still showing very good. The details are not blocked or closed because of cross curing. And it is amazing if you want to print small parts or accessories for your 1/12 scale action figures because you could tell the skin pores are forming very sharp. Even though I am using a regular clear resin, you could see the eye lining, the eyelids, they are very crisp. Oh my god. See all the facial details. And mind you, I can see the wrinkles here because of the help of macro lens. But if I don't use macro lens, it looks like this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And it's kind of freaky with this hollow 1/6 scale head sculpt because I could see the mesh polygon for the inner wall of this hollow head sculpt. Switching to macro lens, look at that skin pores and wrinkle details. I am lost for words. This is the first time I ever print a clear resin with a very high details like this. This is the red panda. Let's look at around the supports. See, no cross curing at all. The supports are individually formed correctly, nothing fused. Look at the fur details. All are very sharp and crisp. I can read the letter here, very nice, 3D micron. And the stitching details on the head here are beyond my expectation. Although, look at these voxels, yeah. No matter how high the resolution of a screen, I guess we still need anti-aliasing. And nope, if you paint it over, it will only showing up more the voxels. This is the smaller red panda. Although the details are getting soft around the eyes, but all of the supports, they form correctly. See, nothing fused. Let me see, can I read the 3D micron letters here? Nope, I do not see anything here. If you print with 405 UV light source, I bet you, under the chin here, it will be a blob of resin because of the cross curing, and the details here is gonna be close. And yeah, this is almost like you are printing with standard resin. Here to give you an idea of side-by-side comparison using clear resin and standard resin, both on GK3 Pro. All the letters form correctly, both extrude and emboss. Let's look at the back, the smaller one. I guess this is the limit of the regular resin. I could see the shape of some letter, but I cannot make it out correctly. I was thinking to do some washing to help showing out the details on video, but I guess I don't have to. Even without washing, I'm sure you guys could look at all the details on the steering wheel. All the letters around the turn knob, they form very nice and I could read them very well. And this is without any washing to help bring out the details. This is printed with 405 UV light source and I could tell already the two fingers here on both left and right, they are missing the details because of cross curing, so I do not bother polish it to clear. And this is the 385 UV light source. And here a tail model with the size of the fur is like 0.3 millimeter. And amazing that it could be printed on clear resin with this orientation and all the fur details. Comparing 385 on the right and 405 on the left, if you look at them casually like this, you cannot tell the difference. But if I use macro lens, I can somehow tell there is a much better details over here at 385 compared to 405. What do you guys think? On hard surface model like this Proto Girl, checking the linings and all the details, I cannot tell the difference at all. On the right 385, on the left 405. If you guys spot the difference, please let me know in the comment section. The only difference that I could spot on this 112 head sculpt is I think the eyelid, the lower eyelid here, it is sharper on 385 on the right, on the left 405. See? I think it is sharper here. For this 1/6 scale head sculpt, I'm sure you guys could tell the difference even without me pointing it out. Without macro lens, can you guys tell which one is 385 and which one is 405? On this small steering wheel model, I could spot almost right away, even without the help of macro lens, that the fiber carbon details here, they are more visible compared to this one on the left 405. Oh yeah, on the right 385, on the left 405. Yeah, I could almost tell that the details here are much sharper. Switching to macro, yep, you could see the details here at 385 compared to 405. On a slightly bigger steering wheel compared to before, yes, I can tell right away that 385 on the right has much more sharp details for the carbon fiber compared to 405 on the left. But in all honesty, if you do not have 385 UV light source printer and you only have 405, I gotta say it is already quite good and you cannot tell if you do not have comparison. So do you guys think you need a 385 UV light source if you just mostly print standard resin like this? I know everyone wants the best detail from their purchase of a new printer because for some people, buying a resin 3D printer is quite a big investment for them. But this is me comparing 385 to 405. My question is, if you do not have comparison, do you think 405 is good enough for you? Or at what point do you think the details is good enough for me? There's a viewer that asked me to print a tall model with the heater off at 25 degrees and 30 degrees because he wants to know if there is a wobble issue with GK3 Pro or not. It looks good, right? But No. I only noticed the problem with the GK3 Pro that Uniformation sent me when I print this model. I'm sure you guys could tell what is wrong here. There are bad print lines all over the model, and I even have shifting here. Now that I look back on all my previous print, I start noticing the bad print lines that I previously missed. I did several tests, and I'm glad to say that I managed to get rid of the bad print lines. As it turns out, the bottom of the film has too big of a gap to the screen. So my solution is quite simple. I only lay a film of 0.2 millimeter thickness, and I managed to get rid of the bad print lines. Before I forgot, even though it has stability issue with the Z-axis, I gotta say GK3 Pro is very accurate. I told Uniformation team that I managed to get rid of the bad print lines but unable to do so with the Wobble. They sent me this model so I could print and show them. And yes, the result is you could see there's a slight shifting here. And their conclusion is there might be faulty Z-axis on the GK3 Pro that they sent me. I guess I have to do a follow-up video after the Z-axis replacement arrived and I installed them and make more tests on the stability, because I think there's a possibility the cause of the bad print lines is the factory installed film. In my opinion, they are too loose. So, thank you guys for watching and see you guys in the next video.